All right, let's talk about Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice Ultimate Cut or Ultimate Edition, which okay, so as I said in my Man of Steel review there, when I went to see this, I was extremely underwhelmed by it, and I was shocked because I had always loved everything that I had seen from Zack Snyder up until that point. And when I walked out of the theater, I was like, I can't believe it. I didn't like that movie. Like, I really didn't like that movie. What the fuck is going on here? And, you know, the more I thought about it, kind of the more I disliked it. And I was just like, okay, wow, okay, I just got to accept that. You know, that happened. And then they talked about a ultimate cut, ultimate edition, and, you know, the director's cut and this and that. And I was like, I don't think there's anything they can do to fix this movie. It just didn't work for me, and I don't see anything changing that. And so the mother of my kids and I, we were going to sit down to watch a bunch of these things, and we watched Man of Steel, and I was like, yeah, okay, I love it as usual. And then I threw on this. I picked it up, the Ultimate Edition, and I threw it on, and I was like halfway through it, and she was like, you didn't like this? This seems like something you'd like. Like, this feels like something you'd like. And I was like, you know, like, I'm loving it this time. What the fuck is going on now? And by the time it was over, I was like, what just happened? That was great. I had such a great time with that. What the hell? Those 30 extra minutes, that 31 extra minutes or whatever it is, and just kind of the way that it's just that new footage is mostly what it is. It adds so much context to everything. It makes things work in the film that really didn't work at all. Like the Martha line, you know, when you saw that in the theater, you were like, what? How is it, what? Like, I get it. They both have mothers named Martha. But in this version, it totally works 100%, and I never thought they'd be able to pull that off. So really, really surprised by that, and I was very happy to say that I now am back to loving the Snyder movies. And then I saw Justice League, and which was redone by Joss Whedon, and I was like, all right, that one doesn't count because that one straight up had like a different director. Jesus. And now with the Justice League one, that's what we're all, you know, waiting for. We're not all of us, but the ones that are paying attention to this video, at least, I would assume, are really patiently awaiting that movie tomorrow. So I'll be watching that as soon as I possibly can. But, all right, Batman v Superman. In the opening here, we do a very quick recap on Batman's origins. I'm so glad that they didn't bother trying to do the origins again. We've seen this plenty of times. How many times have we seen fucking, you know, Bruce Wayne's parents killed? How many? So many times, and it's always the exact same thing. It's always the exact same sequences. You know, whether it's in the fucking comics or whether it's in the TV series, comic, animated stuff, whatever the fuck it is, it's always done exactly the same way. And so in this, you know, just do a real quick, you know, recap kind of thing. And it was very interesting to see Negan and Maggie from Walking Dead walking together, being the Walking Dead. See, they're opening here with them walking, and they're about to die. So I guess they are the Walking Dead. But of course, they're giant enemies in the Walking Dead TV series. And in here, they're married and loving on each other. So it's very odd to see, you know, those two actors like so close to each other and in love. So I thought that was just interesting, especially since The Walking Dead Season 10 new episodes are airing right now, and this is where we see Maggie and Negan's feud with one another re-sparking after a long time being away from one another. So we get that. I like that the pearl necklace is broken by the chamber, like, you know, as it's exiting, it breaks the pearls. I think that's great. I think that's a great shot. And then we jump right into the opening of the film, and kind of the motivation for what draws Bruce Wayne, Batman, to do what he does, and that is opening it during the destruction of Metropolis, and Bruce Wayne kind of being on the ground level, viewing what the consequences of someone like this can bring to this planet and all of the weight of that destruction. This is such a fantastic, brilliant way to open this. This is something that just isn't explored enough in these superhero movies, that when you like kick people around that are, you know, metahumans, super gods, whatever, you're kicking them through buildings, and buildings are literally being cut in half by laser vision and shit, and they're all crumbling onto each other. There are people on the ground. There's people in those buildings. There's people all around that are dying right and left. And it is pure chaos. It is like a disaster movie times 10. And people are scared. People are dying. People, you know, there's little kids. There's all sorts of, and we see all of that. This opening shows us that very intimately, and it's scary. It's terrifying. And when, like, you know, Zod and Superman are like flying back down to Earth after their fight up in space, and they come down with the satellite, and it's like raining debris on the city, and the building falls, and the little girl is like, you know, orphaned now, and he just looks up at the sky, and this is all of his motivation. He's just done with this. He's taken matters into his own hands. I love this introduction, and Ben Affleck is fantastic in this film as Bruce Wayne / Batman. I think he's excellent, and you know, I would love to have seen a solo movie of his directed by Zack Snyder. That would have been really cool, but that's just, you know, I don't see that ever happening now that we got the Robert Pattinson one coming out, and now that DC seems to be going in a different direction. But yeah. And then, let's see. So we fast forward 18 months later, and the world engine that had crashed into the Indian Ocean, or whatever it is, it's, you know, partially recovered piece of it houses this enormous piece of kryptonite. Why like Zod and them, who are deathly allergic to this shit, why they would bring it with them? I mean, I guess that makes sense to me, because I mean, we make nuclear weapons, right? Like we have all sorts of shit around us as humans that would kill us. You know, like if you were to go into one of our nuclear facilities, whether it's for nuclear bombs or you know, nuclear energy or whatever, all that shit in there would kill us. And we use that stuff. I mean, obviously we don't drop nuclear bombs on the daily, but we do have nuclear power plants. And if that was to open up, the housing was to open up, it would irradiate us, and we would be fucking dead within 5-10 minutes or an hour or a day, however much exposure you had to you. So that makes sense to me. I was actually going to say, like, why would they bring it? But how many elements do we deal with as human beings that would kill us if we were exposed to them? But, you know, we use them because they have their application. So I guess that makes sense. But yeah, that's how we find the kryptonite in this movie, which makes perfect sense, because why else would there be kryptonite anywhere around Earth other than from, you know, either Superman himself, Kal-El, bringing it with him, or Zod. So makes perfect sense. And then we got Callan Mulvey in here, one of my favorite unknown actors. I wouldn't say he's unknown, but lesser known actors, who was in Captain America Winter Soldier. He was in 300 Rise of the Empire. He's been in a lot of stuff, and I'll actually watch almost anything with him in it. He was in that Katie Holmes Miss Meadows. Is that what it's called? He was like the villain in that. I just really like this guy. I think he's got a really interesting look to him. Yeah, he was on like soap operas or something, and he was like this real pretty boy. And then he got in like a car wreck and just fucked his face all up and lost the vision in an eye. And now he's just got a real tough look to him. And I don't know what it is about the guy. I really like the guy. And anything I see him in, I'm always like, it's Callan Mulvey. How fantastic. And he, to me, is the best, like, human villain in the entire film. Like, the biggest issue with this film is Jesse Eisenberg. Like, that is That's the thing that no cut can fix. I don't like his performance in this. It's too Jesse Eisenberg. It's exactly what you would have expected from him. The way he talks, the way his mannerisms and his body language and all that shit. I just don't like it. I think it's poor casting. And I'm not going to try to compare him to like a Gene Hackman or something. Or a Michael Rosenbaum. Was that guy's name? I don't know. I didn't care for him in this at all. Just the way he's so awkward. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of him. He's the same in every fucking movie, and it's not a character I like that much. And that's just it. But at the same time, I think I get the inclination. I get the casting choice, because if there was a Lex Luthor in our world, it would be someone like a Mark Zuckerberg, you know what I mean? And because he played him in the Facebook movie, The Social Network, I think that was probably the thought process. He doesn't have to be tough. He's going to be some genius who just wants to pit Batman versus Superman, and then he'll have his plan B, which is Doomsday, which they should have never revealed in the trailer. Revealing Doomsday in the trailer was such a mistake. I mean, imagine if you were in the theater and fucking, Batman and him make nice, and then you're thinking, okay, that's the end of the movie, I guess. And then Batman goes to confront Lex, and boom, you see this guy, and you're like, what the fuck is that thing? What is happening in there? And then he talks about it more, and you're like, huh? And then he just says meet your Doomsday, or whatever the line is. Everyone in that theater who was a comic book person would have been like, fucking Doomsday, what? This is the guy who kills fucking Superman. What is happening here? That would have been crazy. But no, they revealed that in the trailer, which was such a bad decision. And I'm sure it wasn't Zack Snyder's decision. Whoever's decision that was, you cannot fucking put huge spoilers and third act stuff. Now, unfortunately, the Batman v Superman fight does take place in the third act of this movie, and that's the title of the film, and it's coming. So for me, because it's in the title, that's what's going to happen, that they're going to fight. So I don't mind, even though that's in the third act, I don't mind it being in the trailer. But the Doomsday stuff, to me, was just unforgivable. You cannot have that in the trailer. I just love the tone of this film, too. And I love the tone of this series. The Snyderverse, the Man of Steel, this, and then, what his Justice League will be tomorrow. I like that. I like that contrast with the MCU. I love the MCU. I have so much fun with it, and that's just it. It's super fun. It's playful. It's light. Sometimes it's dark, and sometimes it's heavy. Of course, Endgame and shit. Yeah, sure, we have that. But man, there's Ant-Man, and there's Guardians of the Galaxy, and there's things that are super fun in most of the films. Even the the Spider-Man movies. There are a lot of it is just pure fun, filmmaking. And that's not a knock on it at all. It's not being it's a popcorn movie and there's no substance in it. Not at all. It's just a completely different tone. That's the way that they went with that franchise. And I like that contrast of what that is versus what the DCEU was, which was the Snyder feel, where everything's really dark and gritty and serious, and there's very little comedy and whatnot. And it's funny because whatever comedy is injected into this movie, the she's not with you, wait, I thought she was with you kind of stuff, it just doesn't work for me. It's fine. I don't hate it. I just don't care. It happens and I'm like, okay, those lines were said and they make sense. It's not funny to me. So I don't care about any of the humor in this. I like the darkness. I like the dark tone of this. I mean, it's the fucking Dark Knight. I like that kind of contrast with the MCU. So I'm more in line with this because look at something like Wonder Woman 1984, which I thought was horrible. And I don't think any, cut's going to fix that. But I'm open to find out if there's some Patty Jenkins cut where she's going to fix the whole movie. I highly doubt that, but hey, prove me wrong. I'm fine with that. But that film is way too playful. It tries to be an MCU movie. It tries to be silly and fun, and I didn't have any of those things with it. So that's the tone you get from that film. But I like this. This film is dark and it's gritty, and I dig the shit out of it. And I prefer the darker fucking DC movies, the R-rated fucking stuff. I have fun with these movies, even if they are dark. But Joker, holy shit, man, this was dark as fuck. But yeah, anyway. All right, moving on. Yeah, and then of course, just kind of the whole question of like, how would people take a Superman in real life? Like basically a god amongst us who makes the decisions, and there's no oversight. There's nobody he has to answer to. There'd be a lot of people who were totally on board and would immediately kind of bend the knee to him. And then there'd be a lot of people where they were like, he's a threat, he needs to go, or he needs to be put under, serious supervision. Which, of course, with this, he is the only one with literal supervision. How would the human race take a legitimate Superman in real life? Like this. There'd be some that worshipped him, and there'd be some that thought he was the devil, and that he needed to be snuffed out instantaneously. And there'd be people who were wanting to vie for that position of power that they had always held, and they'd want him, gone and taken out. So I think all of that makes perfect sense, and it is what we really would get. Batman is handled wonderfully here. He's dark. He's, brutal. He's just this like, and I like this version of him too. This is kind of the old man Batman. This is like the I have no hope left. I've been at this for a long time, and I'm done with the excuses. I'm done with bringing these guys in. I'm done with all of that. I'm very nihilistic and pessimistic and whatever. I like that a lot with him. And I've always found it kind of interesting that people hold superheroes up on this like moral pedestal. And they're like, well, my Batman doesn't kill people. My Superman doesn't kill people. They're above that. That's what they're always there to prove, is that superheroes are above mere mortals, that they can make these decisions and that don't affect people's lives like that, where they're not judge, jury, and executioner. But then they'll go to the theater and they'll watch John Wick shoot fucking 500 people in the head, and they'll think of him as basically a superhero. I mean, John Wick is a superhero. Like, yeah, does he have any, like, flying powers or anything that's extremely abnormal like that? No. But can you take on an entire army by yourself like Commando, John Matrix and Commando did? Fucking of course not. There's nobody who's that talented with a weapon. It's just not possible. It's not feasible. In movies we glamorize it and we make it seem like that's possible, but it's not. If there's stuck in 30 guys around you with guns, you're gonna get shot. It's going to happen. I don't care how accurate, fast, stylish you are. But this guy goes in there and he's a fucking superhero, and he shoots everyone in the head, and we commend him for it. We're like, yeah, go John, But then Batman has his murder tank, as people call it, and people are like, oh my god, Batman's killing people. He's not the hero I knew. I don't like this. That's so interesting to me. But that's just it. It's what they've, what they've connected themselves to when it comes to this character. That character is better than John Wick. I don't know. I think that there's versions of him that aren't killers, But even look back at the Tim Burton ones. I mean, the Batman Returns movie got a lot of shit because Batman's killing motherfuckers right and left. He kicks that one dude down the sewer with a bomb attached to him and blows him up. Do you think that guy survived that? Like, Batman was killing people a long time ago. He kills the Joker in the opening of or at the end of the first fucking movie. So, I don't know. Just the murder tank and stuff. These guys are murderers, and they're shooting at him. And I don't know. To me, I don't have any issue with it. It's not like he's out there just killing random innocent bystanders. That would be a different case. He's like, fuck it, collateral damage doesn't matter. It's not how it is at all. So I love this version of him, and I think he's absolutely terrifying, and he's pissed off, and the first interaction with Batman, being Batman, hunting down criminals and branding them and all of that, is terrifying. It's like a straight up horror movie. He's crawling across the ceiling like some demon in an Evil Dead fucking film. It's craziness. We get Lois Lane in a bathtub with no bubbles or anything, and it's shot from above, and it's like you cannot see her tits. I wonder if they edited her nipples out, or she was wearing like flesh colored, and then they just kind of like, CGI'd, like just kind of blended it with the water, because it's like you see everything about her tit except for nipples. It's really interesting. And by this point, I feel like we've just kind of accepted that it's Clark Kent and Lois Lane. Like that's a combination we know. So, but I had said in Man of Steel, I just don't feel like their romance is earned as much. But once they are romantic, I buy their relationship from there on. So like in this movie, when they're in love with each other and she's chasing him down, he's coming after her, she's falling, or rescues her multiple times, I buy that relationship. I don't really, I wasn't introduced to them in the way that I would have preferred. But now that they're together, I'm fine with that. The Superman memorial site's really cool. Of course, we revisit this, but the guy crawling up there and spraying false god across his chest, that was a really cool part of the teaser trailer, is when they came in and the lights all came on and you saw Superman and said false god across his chest. But yeah, that's 50% of the population right there. He's a false god. He's not my god. My god's Jesus or Muhammad or whoever the fuck. And Superman is a false god. Now, this guy, of course, is he's a disgruntled employee who had his legs crushed. I did like how something fell on him and it actually injured his body to the point where he can never use it again. This happens way too often in films where people have like beams fall on them and shit, and then people pick them up and then the guys slip out and then their legs and their back and everything are totally fine. It's like their bodies, their bones would be crushed to dust. Like, what is this? Why, that's one of the most annoying things in film to me. So to see this guy, who does it really, I've seen him a lot. He does a great performance in this, or gives a great performance. And I like the interaction between Bruce Wayne meeting Clark Kent and the discussion that they have. And he's like, the Daily Planet, basically shitting on Batman and is hypocritical because they praise Superman at every fucking turn they get. I love that stuff. I think that's great. I think that interaction between them is great, and that someone dressed like a clown and all that stuff that he says to him. And then one of my only scenes that I do like, it's Eisenberg's performance that I don't like. I actually quite like the dialogue that he has, and I feel like given to somebody else, they would have crushed this, and I would be completely on board with them being Lex. What about you guys? Does anybody love his performance? Is anybody like, I think he's, his performance is underrated or whatever people say? That's cool if you do. I try to like it. I really do. And I just can't. I was watching it today, and I was like, God, he's so goofy with all this stuff and the way he moves, and I don't know, it doesn't work for me. It just doesn't work. I wish it did. Because this is R-rated, they can throw fuck in here, so we do get one fuck, which in a superhero movie like this, that it's not a Deadpool, it's not movies that had already been shot with a bunch of F. I don't give a shit. Joker and Birds of Prey and all that have plenty, and it doesn't bother me at all. Why would it? I cuss all the time, and I like movies that do. Just seeing it inserted here in a film that never had it before just felt interesting. Seeing Gal Gadot is never a problem, and that's our introduction to both Batman and to Wonder Woman was in this film, and she really is just like one of the most beautiful women of all time. I mean, she really is just incredible looking. And what's funny is while I was watching Suicide Squad earlier, I did watch some of that. I'm not going to review it, but I did watch some of that earlier. Right after Batman v Superman was done, I had like another hour to kill with my kids, and they were playing with stuff, and they were sitting there, And they were like, oh, put on another movie or something. And I was like, all right, I'll throw in Suicide Squad. I just bought it at Walmart the other day, the extended cut. And I was like, might as well just check it out, see what my memory of is. It's not very good. It's not very good. It actually kind of got worse for me on this viewing. I watched it all the way up until they are going to fight the Enchantress. Right at that sequence, I shut it off because I had to leave. But the whole point of me even going around all of that is that Margot Robbie is in that, and there are scenes where they get the flashbacks of her as Harleen Quinzel. Not that she's not hot as fuck as Harley Quinn, but when she's the doctor and you really get to see like how she is, she's unbelievably stunning. I mean, she's unbelievably good looking. She's perfect looking. Legitimately, she's just like flawless from what I can tell, like from what I can see. She's unbelievable. So is Gal Gadot. So you have two of arguably the most beautiful women that's ever lived in the history of ever, in my opinion, both in franchises, in the same franchise. So whoever that casting director is must love gorgeous women, because holy shit did they pick two of the best ever. And there's plenty of other good-looking women in this franchise, of course. But those two are just, wow. They're out of control. And the dark visions of the future that Bruce has, and then the whole Flash sequence where he's like, Lois is the key, and you were right about him, and all that stuff. That better play heavily into Justice League. I'm really hoping to see more of that in Justice League, the Snyder cut, because I need that scene to make sense, because it is a scene in here that's like, I don't really know what to make of that yet. So I will keep my opinion on that for now, but if it plays into Justice League, the new one, really well, then awesome. Cool, I'm so glad it's here. If it doesn't, it's completely ignored. Wow, this is a pointless scene of this film. And I definitely wish it wasn't there. But I did like seeing the Superman police with all of them. They bow to his feet and shit when he comes in. So that was good stuff. And then when the Batmobile comes around the corner and it just smacks off of Superman, and then he goes and he grabs the doors and he brings it up, and Batman stands up and they're face to face, and Bat's dead. Bury it. Oh, Cavill's great in this, man. He's so great. And then he tries to like go away, and Batman's like, do you bleed? You will. And I love his voice. So this was such a good decision to like, distort it electronically, as opposed to like the Christian Bale, where is she? That voice. Like, yeah, I mean, we all have our issues with that voice. I don't hate it as much as other people do. But this one, the modulated voice that he uses with his suit, I love that idea. That was great. That was such a good idea. So I love his voice in this, and the you will. Good stuff, man. Really great stuff. Lex sacrifices his gorgeous another gorgeous woman. His gorgeous assistant Mercy. It's like, I guess he just didn't want to rouse suspicion by not having her be in there. Like, oh, if we're both missing, it'll trigger some warning, I guess. But regardless, I wouldn't sacrifice anybody, to be honest. But I sure as fuck wouldn't sacrifice my insanely hot assistant or co-partner. I don't know what the hell she is, but man, she's one good-looking woman. And I was just like, damn, you just threw her away like that? Fucking this guy has no loyalty to her, or no love for beauty either, I guess. And let's see. Oh man, the scene where the wheelchair blows up, and then Superman is kind of just sitting there, and he's like fuck, and he's so bummed out. That's a weighty scene, man. I was like, damn, that would be hard. Especially since he's there, trying to talk to them about how I'm not this threat. And then, boom, they blow up the building with him inside. And I'm sure there's people that probably think he went in there and blew it up so he didn't have to answer to anybody. And I think that's kind of a missed opportunity. I think there should have been more question about that. Like, did Superman do this? Or did somebody else do this? There is not really much question of that, and I think that they missed kind of an emotional thing there, a dramatic thing there. But whatever, regardless, he flies some people out, and then he has to go off, and that's a lot. That's a lot. And Batman, of course, is watching that like, okay, this guy has to go. Like, look how much destruction and death he's bringing with him. Even if he didn't do it, as he says, even if there's like a 1% chance, we have to take that as an absolute certainty. Like, he cannot risk that this guy would ever do something, because if he did, he could take out the entire fucking planet, which I think might be exaggerative. Although I guess not. I guess, yeah, I mean, I guess he could just go and grab a bunch of nuclear weapons and then just start raining them down on us. So yeah, I guess he could. I guess he could wipe out the whole planet. I was just thinking about him like going and flying to like everybody's door and like knocking, and then they come out and just laser visions them to death. I'm like, that's going to take a while. That's going to take a while. Seems like it would be really exhausting, but I guess if he just went up and grabbed a bunch of nukes, he could blow us all up. They make Zod's body into Doomsday, which I thought was really interesting. And then we find out that the bomb was lead-lined. That's why he couldn't see it. We get the Pa Kent vision, where he goes and talks to him, which is kind of what gives him a little bit of his motivation to go back. The music in this fucking movie, man, especially like that Lex Luthor type music, the loud key, piano keys and the I love that. I love that. Probably my favorite music in the entire franchise. I think it's fantastic. And then you got freaking Wonder Woman's theme. Oh, it's so good, man. It's so good. So, once again, this has got to be Hans Zimmer again, right? I didn't check, but I can only imagine if he did the first that he would probably do this. But I don't know. Yeah. Music by Hans Zimmer and Junkie XL. I'm assuming Junkie XL did the Wonder Woman. But whoever did it, fuck, man. But as I said, the Lex Luthor stuff, I love that. I love that music. Hope to hear it in Justice League. We'll see. God, I can't wait for Justice League, man. 90% different footage or new footage. 4 hours long. I mean, just that alone, even if it was the original film with it would be over 2 hours. It'd be 2 hours of extra footage put in. That would change, how much that would dramatically change a film. I mean, look at Batman v Superman. That had 30 minutes, and it completely changed the film for me and made me love it. This is 90% different in 4 hours. This is a completely different film. This has a completely different fucking villain. They go from Steppenwolf all the way up to Darkseid. Side? I think it's Darkseid. Whatever. However the fuck you say his name. Which we actually see Steppenwolf at the end of this, which I don't remember it being at the end of the theatrical cut. I don't remember Lex back in that water, and then them looking over and Steppenwolf is there for a second, then he like vanishes. I don't remember seeing that, but he is there. It probably did happen. I just don't remember it for some reason. I don't remember it either time because I just watched this and I was like, is that fucking Steppenwolf? How did I not put that together? Whatever. Anyways, I like how he brings Lois up to the top of a building and then just pushes her off, and it's like, Superman will be there. He'll catch her. He's such an arrogant prick. And then, boom, he comes down. I would imagine Superman just come up, boom, and kill him instantly. If you drop my girlfriend off a building and I had the ability of Superman. That's just another thing. It's like, I think I talked about this in the last video. How would I handle having Superman's powers? Not well. Not well. Bruce would be right to take me out, because somebody pissed me off like that. They drop my girlfriend off of a building and I just, boom, right up there and kill him instantaneously. I'd just be like, I'd just karate chop him right down the center and just, and he would have that egg timer in his hand, and I'd be like, I wonder what that meant. And then I'd go home and I'd be like, Mom? Mom, where are you? Oh, I guess I should have listened to that freaking goofy guy. But yeah, he goes up there and Lex is like, I got your mom. I don't even know where she's at. You have an hour to kill the Bat. And so he goes and he tries to convince Bruce that he needs to help him take this guy out, but Bruce is not hearing it. And then we get the battle. And what I love about it is that, of course, when Superman has his powers, he's going to wipe the floor with Batman. It's not even a fight. I don't care what kind of armor he has on. I don't give a shit about any of that stuff. It doesn't make any difference. He's going to destroy him. He's a fucking, just like Lex says, it's man versus God. And that's literally what it is. And so, but Superman wasn't a trained fighter. Batman is like the brawler of brawlers. He's a fucking ninja, dude. Like, it's a fair fight, it's over. And that's what I love about this. When it's Superman and he has his powers, Bruce is just a peon to him. But when like he hits him in the face with that kryptonite blast, that mist, that fog, and then he goes to throw a punch and then Bruce blocks it, and they see that, and he's just like looks over it like, what the fuck? And now it's an even fight. Bruce destroys him just like he would 100% if there was an even playing field between Clark Kent and Bruce Wayne. Bruce Wayne is going to fucking destroy him. This is a guy who trained with the League of Assassins. He's fucking unstoppable. He's a street brawler. This guy fights criminals who are as strong as him all the time. This guy actually, he can't just use his laser vision and, his flight to pick him up and fucking supersonic speed and shit. He don't have any of those tools. He's a real fighter. So when he's incapacitated, when he has the, no powers, so that's what's great about this fight. Superman destroys when he has the upper hand, and when Bruce has the even playing field, good night. And so he gets him in this fight, and the fight is super fucking cool and fun, and they're just smashing each other around, and it really has weight to it. That was something that I didn't really like about the Zod fight as much, is it just felt like two people punching each other, and neither one of them could get hurt until he broke his neck. Like, it just felt like there was no damage to them, there was no wounds, there was no nothing. And in this, it really feels like Bruce is getting hurt when he gets thrown around. And then when Clark, or Kal-El, or Superman, or whatever the fuck you want to call him, when he gets hit and when he gets hurt, once Batman has the even playing field, it really feels like Superman is fucked up. Like, he looks like he's beaten hard. And then he gets him down, he cuts his face, which, fulfills that thing that he said earlier, like, can you bleed? You will. He literally cuts him across the face just to prove that he can hurt him with the thing, but it also fulfills that kind of prophecy of you will bleed. And then he goes to stake him, and then boom, you've got the line, like, you're letting him kill Martha. What? Why did you say that name? Like, they don't realize who they are, and this is what humanizes Clark Kent to him. All of a sudden, he doesn't see him as this, alien threat. He sees him as a man who has a father, and it relates to him. Like, this guy's gonna lose his mother, Martha, if I do this, if I don't help. And so in that moment, he has his flashbacks and he thinks of this, and that just works. To see those flashbacks and to see all the context before, all that stuff is so fucking imperative to this moment, that Bruce Wayne and Clark Kent have a mom that are both named Martha, and they have that connection. And this is the connection that breaks Bruce's, desire to kill him. And he throws the spear away. Lois Lane runs in, and he's like, it's his mother, and they talk it out, and now they're buds, and he's like, look, I fucking, I was wrong, and I'm gonna make it up to you. And he tells him, like, look, your mom is not gonna die tonight. I'm not gonna let that happen. And he trusts him. He trusts him with his mother's life after what has happened. So I love it. I think it's fantastic. I think it works perfectly in this version. I would never watch the theater cut again, although if I did, I'd probably get good context on why I don't like that version. I wish the Jenna Malone stuff was better, but it does add stuff to the film. I just wish she was more of a character than she is here. I like her as an actress. I think she's a total babe, and I would have liked to have seen more of her, but that's okay. And then we get into the best scene in the entire fucking film, and this is why I would have loved to have seen a Zack Snyder Batman movie, and that is the warehouse brawl between Batman and the thugs. This scene, it just rules. This is what Christopher Nolan's Batman movies was always missing for me, is the street brawler, knockdown, drag out fights that Batman would get into, something you would see in like the Arkham games that I love so very much, because that's Bruce Wayne Batman to me. Like, that's what I love, and that's what I'm loving about this Batman trailer with Robert Pattinson, is he brutalizes this guy, he just smashes him into the ground, and he's just like, I'm vengeance. Awesome. The fight sequences in the Batman movies that Nolan did are the only thing that I'm not huge on in those films. I just don't think they're that great of fights. I want to see a ninja street brawler Batman. I want to see him beating the fuck out of people, and for there to be great choreographed fight sequences. That's what I want to see. I want to see Batman being a detective, and I want to see him being a fucking straight up like street fighter. And that's the two things I want out of the Matt Reeves Batman movie more than anything by far. And from what I've seen from the trailer, it's very Seven looking. And he comes in to investigate a murder scene, and then he has these like really cool fight sequences. Sign me the fuck up. That's probably going to be my favorite Batman movie. I'm calling it right now. It's going to have everything I want it to have. And Robert Pattinson's a fantastic actor, so the Bruce Wayne character will be very interesting and engaging as well for me, I'm sure. And then you have freaking Colin Farrell, who looks unrecognizable as the Penguin, and you got Paul Dano as the Riddler, and you've got freaking Zoe, I think that's her, Zoe Kravitz? No. Who the fuck is playing Catwoman? However, I don't care. I'm so excited about that film. I can't even see straight. So, unfortunately, it got pushed to next year. Ugh. So lame. Fucking COVID, man. But yeah, the warehouse brawl. The only thing I would have liked different in that sequence is, of course, I would have watched 10 more minutes of it easily. But it would have also been that Anatoly, played by Callan Mulvey, had he had a bigger scene, fight, whatever, with Batman, I would have liked to see them duke it out, as opposed to him just hitting his flamethrower and him looking scared, like, I'll do it, man. I don't know. Just having him look scared, I get it. It's cool in a way, because this guy seems to be unfazable until he faces Batman, who just wiped out his whole crew. So yeah, you would be scared. I think that makes sense. It's just, I don't know. I would have liked to see them brawl it out for 5 minutes, or not even 5 minutes, just a minute. Just give me a fight between them, and then he goes to like grab the flamethrower, and then he blows it up and grabs her. Fine, but just give me the fight. I want to see the fight, because he's like, the main buff bad guy human that I think would have been a really good match for Batman to tangle with. I think that would have been really, really cool. But we don't get it, and that sucks, but it's okay, because the rest of the movie rules, so I'm okay with that. I feel like Metropolis should be more destroyed than it is only 18 months later, but I don't know, they build those shits up pretty damn quick. They shoot a nuclear bomb at Superman and Doomsday, like, instant. I was like, make that decision so quick. And then this, like, really screws Superman up, and he looks like he's like a corpse, and then the sun hits him, and boom, he's back, and he goes down. And then Wonder Woman comes in, and she saves Batman, and you've got that awesome music kicks in, and they're fighting, and Batman's like swinging around, and he's trying to get away, because he's like, this is way above my pay grade. He shouldn't even be in this fight, but he does end up helping out, because he shoots it in the face with his last kryptonite grenade, which stuns it enough for Superman to get in there with this weapon and kill him. And then, of course, they spear each other, and he's vulnerable in that moment because he's around the kryptonite, and the kryptonite's inside Doomsday, and it kills them both, which is great. I mean, he sacrifices himself, because as he says, like, this is my world, and then he looks at Lois and he's like, and you're my world. Oh, it's great stuff, man. And then we see Steppenwolf, as I said, and then after his death, Bruce Wayne pays for his funeral, which I thought was cool. And yeah, they just basically try to do the entire setup to the Avengers in like one movie here. Like you had like, let's imagine if they did Iron Man, and then they did Iron Man 2, and in Iron Man 2 they introduced us to Thor and Captain America. And then they had like clips and videos of Hulk and Hawkeye and Black Widow. And then the next movie was the Avengers. Imagine if they tried to do that. It just wouldn't work. It just wouldn't work. They all need their own solo films. And it's just, that's not the way they went. They were trying to catch up with the Avengers, and they just didn't build out the universe the way that they should have. And I would have loved it. I mean, imagine having a DC verse and an MCU. I would love that, of course. Why the fuck not? If they're both rad as hell, if they, if the DC one is working as well as the MCU, I'd fucking be so excited to go to both every year and have fucking 3 of them each year. I would be stoked out of my mind. I'd be in geek fucking heaven. And imagine if they had TV series like WandaVision and freaking Falcon and the Winter Soldier and all the damn TV series that are coming out for the MCU. Imagine if they had that. Because like my most desired thing on television probably ever, outside of, I don't know, this Lord of the Rings series that Amazon's doing, I'm pretty excited about. But one thing I want above all else, is my most anticipated, desired thing, it would be a live action, high budgeted Batman television series. Oh my God, give me that. He has the best rogue gallery to draw from. He's got every fucking popular villain ever. To have a TV show with Bruce Wayne and Batman and all that. Oh my God, please. And make my dreams come true and make it Scott Adkins, because I think he's meant to be Batman, but whatever. I'll be okay if it's not Scott Adkins. I know a lot of people think he can't act, but I'm always going to champion the guy. I think he's rad. And he is like the closest thing we have to what I see as a Bruce Wayne. Anyway, so Batman v Superman. Does anybody else feel this way? Is anybody else going to do a 47-minute long fucking discussion of this? And I didn't even talk about everything by any means. But I tried to rush through everything as fast as possible. And look at me. I didn't even go off in any rants or, the only thing I went off on was like Harley Quinn being in Suicide Squad and Birds of Prey. But yeah, I have a lot to say about this movie. It's 3 fucking hours long, so one would expect that. But I think it's great. Jesse Eisenberg's the only thing I'm not a fan of, as I said. But overall, man, I really have a great time with this, and I cannot wait to watch a 4-hour film tomorrow with a smile on my face, because it's crazy that film even exists. But that's the power of the internet and people vying for things. I mean, if you do it enough, they have to listen eventually. So I hope we can do that with other things. I'd love to see David Ayer's real cut of Suicide Squad. I really doubt that would be good, but regardless, I'd love to see it. I'd love to see, oh my God, there's so many things I'd love to see. Blair Witch 2, as everyone knows, I'm a huge fan of it, and I'd love to see the legit Joe Berlinger original visioned cut. Oh, please. Jesus, I want that film so bad. And there's other films as well that are just Event Horizon. Unfortunately, that footage doesn't exist anymore, but he wants like money to come back. Paul W. Sanderson wants like money to come back and reshoot it with CG and all that. That'd be interesting. I'd watch it. Why not? Fuck it. Give it to me. I'll watch it. But yeah, anyways, I'll be talking about Justice League as soon as I watch it. I'm not sure if I'm going to watch it tomorrow or not. I want to watch it with my dad, so I might have to wait till Sunday to do that, because after work tomorrow, he might be like, I don't know, man, a 4-hour movie now after I worked all day. But I hope he says yes, because I want to watch it tomorrow, and I want to watch it with him. But we'll see. I might just watch it without him. We'll see. Anyways, adios.